Okay, welcome to a Monday. It does not, well, it feels like a Monday, but it does not feel like July 21st in terms of weather around here. Northern California, Central California, pretty mild. Southern California, about where they should be for this time of year. Marine inversion is being really stretched out. We're seeing clouds throughout portions of Northern California. This is Mount Shasta, which is that southern part of the Cascade mountain range. The further south you go to end up at Mount Lassen. We talked about this yesterday, right, with the earthquake stuff and the Cascadia subductive zone. Well, this is part of it, right? This is that earth or the plates diving underneath each other, melting in the magma and coming up as a volcano. And what I also see is what a volcano can do, especially this far north. You can see the lenticular clouds trying to form off of it as an unsettled weather pattern moves through the area and really creates us some of the best conditions for fighting fires that you can expect in July. And of course, this time of year in California, it is about fires, right? And we do have a red flag warning in western Reno. We have a wind advisory on Lake Tahoe, and we've got drizzle throughout much of the state, or throughout much of the coastline. There's the system here. Here's the visible satellite. Most effective tool you can have in your toolbox for weather, if you want to understand weather in just one quick shot. This thing updates regularly. It's on my links page. And what you like about it, what I like about it is, first of all, there's the fog. This is the Bay Area. This is Point Conception, Southern California down here. But see how far inland the fog is pushed all along the coast? That mechanism for increasing that fog inland push or increasing the sea breeze is this low pressure center that's coming through. That's where we were just a minute ago up and around Mount Shasta, where there are some scattered showers showing up, light scattered showers, and we have drizzle all along the coast. What's going to happen today, though, which is going to be awesome, are this cloud cover, this low cloud and fog, even in Southern California, it's all going to break off, and we're going to see mostly clear conditions along the coast. This area will have a red flag warning. That's what we're looking at for windy, breezy conditions. It's not a hot, dry red flag warning. It's a wind red flag warning. So I find that to be a different level, right? A red flag warning with wind, hot and dry all at once, that's level 10 code red. This is a little less because you got higher fuel moistures and lower temperatures. So again, this pattern this summer has been below average throughout much of the state of parts of Northern California, but it has been extremely, extremely helpful to firefighters. We'll get to that in a minute. This is from Mount Tamalpais in Marin County. You're looking down. Mount Tamalpais this is the sun coming up this morning. San Francisco just down in this area. I'm showing you this because you can see the fog, how deep it is. This is a 2,500 foot and above mountain. We're looking down on the fog, which is looks like it's about 1,800 feet deep, which means that fog is being lifted up and pushed over the coastal hills. Today, this is all going to clear out as the low pressure kind of blows up that inversion. The low pressure being this guy right here. This would be the low pressure. This is kind of you could call it a front if you wanted to, but it is a bit of a front. And that's going to break up that inversion pretty nicely. And that's going to bring the fog and lift it out. And that's where the drizzle is coming from today. So with that said, it's going to be a milder day around the state. Redding today, 87. That's nothing. Redding in July 21st. San Francisco, 64. If that makes sense. Los Angeles, 76. That's about right. San Diego, 72. This is today. So below average temperatures. You still have your heat in the desert southwest. These are the forecast highs again for today. But very manageable. Not a buck 18, 115, 108 in Phoenix. It's still pretty hot, but it's not as nasty. It's more typical. So that is how it looks for today. And you know what? I'll tell you right now. That's how it looks like really for on and off the rest of the week. We're going to go beyond this forecast into the longer range. But the idea being this trough, this is the GFS 500 millibar vorticity map. In this area here, I'll put a circle around California, and you can see this area. This essentially is the upper level winds, and this is tracing the jet stream. So now I'm just drawing in the jet stream about where it is, right? So you see that's a trough. If this was winter, it would be raining and pretty stormy. Got a ridge out here, and you got a trough right here. And then under this ridge, you've got a lot of heat. In this trough, you've got a lot of cool air. And under that trough is where we exist, most of us, in California. And that is creating much lessened fire strain, which is awesome. Even though there is that red flag warning in Eastern California and Western Reno, that's for wind, 25, 35 miles an hour, which is not great. But again, lower temperatures, higher humidities really helps firefighters a bit. So I'm going to back off. Here we are today. And then here we are. See that trough just linger? So now we're into Tuesday. So today we got what we got. We got temperatures below average, not 90s in the Central Valley, but 80s. As a matter of fact, specifically 87 in Redding, 82 in Sacramento. And then as we go into Tuesday, same thing. That trough lingers. And then as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, it's still lingering. You see that low right over us, a little cutoff? I know. So if this is winter, this is a real wet pattern. This time of year, there's not a lot of fuel available to this system, so it's not going to really be that wet. But look at how long it goes out. I mean, if this is your first visit with me watching the 500 millibar vorticity, this trough area hanging close to us, right there goes another one. The reds represent shear or unsettled weather. There's the high building out. So our next chance for real heat around here comes around August 5th. And that's a long way up. But so backing it up again, and you just see that flow of activity through Northern California. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this. Let's see if I can do this. Let's go GFS. I'm going to switch over to, I wonder if I can easily do this. Precipitable water, precipitation, precipitable accumulation. Okay, so what we're looking for, we know that we have, well, I don't know if that's going to work. Precipitation, sorry. And let's just see what we got here. Let's just look at see what if there's moisture available to the system. And you can see not really. So this is just measuring the amount of precipitation accumulation, so where the rain will be. And that's over the next 10 days or so. So it didn't tell us much, but we do know it's going to be cooler than average. Here is the trough, and I don't worry about the lines right now. It shows a little bit of wind, shows a little bit of typical weather, but below average. But see that area up north? That's in Northern California, up by MacArthur and Bernie and Mount Shasta. That area is going to be lit up for a while. There it goes again. That's on Saturday, the 26th of July. And then there's one comes in here, this guy again. So what's happening is that trough is going to continue to direct weather systems. And I think there's a big bump here, right? There it is. So see that's a real frontal system with potential for rain on August 4th. So what I'm looking at is a very fire-friendly, air quality-friendly forecast. Very friendly forecast for air quality and fire. And again, we have the big fires, the green fire, are obviously, but like the green fire, for instance, we talked about how the burn is more controlled, and that's because they're having weather like this, that they can actually kind of do some forest prep, if you will, and letting that fire burn and really creating a nice little fire break for future potential fires. These are the forecast highs for tomorrow. Not like today. And this forecast for tomorrow will kind of roll into the next couple of days. We don't see any big changes. And that's great news. As we look at watchjudy.org, the fire weather watches and warnings and what have you. Here's that red flag warning. Here's a fire in Reno. That is, 1,000 acres, no containment. Yeah, it's been around for a little while, the Gold Fire. And they're probably very worried about that because the wind will spread it quite a bit. So we'll keep an eye on that. But overall, let's see if we can get a picture of the Gold Fire. Here it is. This is the Gold Fire in Reno. And you can see what kind of terrain it's in. It's already burning. Looks like it's burning up the hill a little bit based on that smoke plume. But they're doing a pretty good job getting a handle on it. They don't have much containment yet, but I suspect this system, even with the wind, is going to help. Here's the big fire that was creating all the air quality issues for the California area and southern Oregon. Let's see if I got a picture of it. No, I don't. But I do have 19,000 acres that have burned. They've done a heck of a job containing that fire and burning. Same with the Butler fire. I believe these fires are all being kind of managed and managed beautifully, quite frankly, because it marks, I was just telling my wife the other day, it marks a change. It seems to me a real change in how California is approaching fire. Again, it's compliments of the Forest Service and CAL FIRE working together and using their philosophies and knowing that we should really allow as much burning as we can. If these things start naturally with lightning strikes, and we don't have a nasty weather pattern coming up, and we can see like this forecast I just showed you, let's let this thing roll a little bit. Let's burn it a little bit. Let's move this. These areas haven't burned in a while, so that when they do have an opportunity to burn again, they're already going to be cleaned out. And that's the hope. So here's an interesting shot. This is looking back towards the green fire, and let's just do a quick loop. You can see the smoke settle down in the morning. See how the smoke in the cold mornings just settles down, but that smoke's not bad at all. This weather system above, that's cloud cover, that's that system we looked at Mount Shasta. That cloud cover is mixing up the inversion. So you see the smoke is really, this is an awesome day for firefighters to just really manage that fire beautifully. This is the green fire up around Bernie. This is looking down towards, let me see, I gotta go this way a little bit. Let's go towards Chico. We're looking at Red Bluff now. And why am I in Red Bluff? Because, let's go back here. Because that is where there's a lot of smoke. They had a lot of smoke there the last, let's see if I can get this. Sorry, that's going to get you seasick. So there's the Central Valley. There's kind of Redding over here, Red Bluff, Chico further south. But again, this weather system blowing up that inversion and allowing the air quality to get better. Speaking of air quality, this is purple air. This will load up. And what you're going to see is we'll look at the national map. I'll load this down a little bit for you on the fly. And purple air is an awesome source. So you can see some of the fires here, not fires, you can see smoke. Some of this is Canadian smoke from the Canadian fires, which we'll look at. But California and Oregon were the worst, but look what's happening now. And tomorrow I'm going to show you this map, and the air quality is going to be even better. So this is as good as air quality as we've seen in California. This is just morning commute down in Southern California, and a little bit of that fire up in the Grand Canyon. But overall, this is a really good air quality map. So good stuff. Reds and purples not good. This is over by the Butler fire I was showing you, and that's the 291 parts per million is a lot, but it is going to get better today as that trough kind of slides through. This is the smoke model and the Canadian fire. So here's California, here's southern, North America, the southern part of it. And you can see all of the smoke. And those fires up there are raging. It's funny, I haven't seen a lot of coverage on them. I haven't been following the fires, the Canadian fires as much, because I've been paying attention to us and our smoke issues that we've had in California. But you can see that's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of fires. And I imagine, I'm not sure how they're managing those fires up there. It'd be interesting to maybe do a deep dive into that someday. This is the wind advisory on Lake Tahoe, wind advisory in Northeast California up around Bernie and Fall River. Here is red flag warning for this part of Reno or for Nevada, and the concerns for the fire that they have burning there. Not a lot of containment on it yet, but again, higher humidities, lower temperatures. Even though it's breezy, it's going to be helpful. You got an interesting little flood advisory here. This is up around Marin County, that light green. High tide tomorrow morning, or to this evening, pardon me, and then tomorrow morning. The bike path floods, just there's the high tide when it comes into Lucky Drive, and parts of Marin County gets kind of wet. And then you got a red flag warning here in Wyoming. And then you've got heat concerns. You've got heat advisories here. You've got extreme heat warning here. Now, that's millions of people under an extreme heat warning, which is a big deal. And then this is an extreme heat watch. So this warning area, pretty big, picks up some big cities, Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, and parts of Kentucky and Tennessee. This area, again, is something to watch because heat is the thing. It's the thing and there's a lot of heat down in this area too. And you got to remember, you got humidity with this. So that's the story and the national map. If you're heading to the eastern part of the country, especially the eastern part of the country, it is going to be very, very warm, very hot, very sticky because you got the humidity. 99 in Dallas. Picture that. 98 in Oklahoma City. 97 in Memphis. You see the cloud cover, you're going to have 60% humidity, maybe even more. 93 in New Orleans, 96. These are really 97 in Charlotte. These are the highs for today. Tomorrow it's going to be just about as hot. So really a big heat. And I wanted to point this out. Remember when I said, okay, here's the jet stream. We've got a trough, cooler, and there's the ridge. And the warmer air lies under the ridge. So let's do it again. Trough. Everything to the north of the trough up here is cooler. And everything under the jet stream, the ridge, is warmer, right? Because the jet stream, here it is. Draw it in. So here's the jet stream. I'm just drawing straight across. This is colder air to the north, warmer air to the south. So when it buckles up, this warmer air, it intrudes further north. Jet stream is the whole deal with the jet stream is polar regions cold, equator warm. The cold air kind of merges with the warm air, and right where they meet is the jet stream. And the jet stream moves further north and further south based on the sun angle or the seasons. The Earth spins, and so the jet stream in the northern hemisphere goes from west to east. Jet stream is awesome, and you can tell a lot. So when I draw on the jet stream trough, you can almost assure yourself that you're going to have heat here, cool here. And in the winter months, where the cool is, in that trophy zone, is where you're going to find your rain. Okay, so we kind of did this work. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. Above average, we're looking at, well, I see that. We just saw it, and it's going to continue for the next 6 to 10 days through the 30th of July. And then below average here. And again, if we were to draw on a trough, right, the trough goes like this. The ridge goes like this. Oversimplification, but not really. That's exactly how it is. So that is the 6 to 10 day outlook. So above or below average temperatures for the western United States, and you can bet CAL FIRE and the Forest Service paying attention to that. Precip below average, or average, if you will, which is almost nothing. There's a little bit of monsoonal moisture coming up, but not much. So kind of just a next 6 to 10 days looks pretty mild. Pretty nice. This is Pacifica. I have so much respect for these folks out surfing right now. Why? Well, because it's drizzly and foggy. And it's like, this is right now. This is surfline.com. Just because surfing's awesome, but I always had trouble surfing in the cold, windy winter months. So I have a lot of respect for them, especially because I know they're learners out there. That's Pacifica, which is a kind of a learner spot. This is Trestles. This is lowers. Only a couple folks out. Swells, there's some swell. Tide's a little goofy, a little high right now, I suspect. And we're looking at swells 2 to 4 feet, 4 to 5 feet the next couple of days, and then it drops off. So kind of a nice pattern. And San Diego, truthfully, has had a really good surf pattern for the last, oh my gosh, most of the summer. This is a live picture from South Lake Tahoe. And what do you see? Well, I don't think we can loop. Let's loop this just because we can. 3 hours. It should be sun up. Ooh, not pretty. So that's South Lake Tahoe. This is down by the casinos. And you see the wind shift on the lake. You see those clouds. That's that incoming system just to the north. We're looking towards the north up here. That's that system coming in this morning that will be over Lake Tahoe this afternoon, which will induce a lake wind advisory. And we're already seeing pretty breezy conditions for this time of morning on Lake Tahoe. Okay, so we did it. We did a bunch of weather. We did local weather. We're talking about in California, steady as she goes, right? It's going to be more of the same as we go through this week and really beyond that. This is Brooks Falls in Alaska. We've been watching this. I watch this every day at the end. You see the bear over in the corner. That's a brown bear, not a grizzly bear. Brown bears are bigger than grizzly bears. Look how fat that bear is. Oh my gosh. And you see the fish, right? And one of the things I've noticed, and maybe one of you guys can help me, got a lot of new subscribers right now. So if you're a fish guy, you can tell me why when this run started, this salmon run, right? The salmon are going upstream. As they go upstream, they pretty much stop eating, and then they go further up to their home spawning grounds and lay eggs and die for the most part. And the bears kind of grab them along the way, and a lot of the fish can't make this run, right? You see them getting tired, and they get drifting back, and these are all fish in here. But what I noticed was, when this run first started, I've been watching it for about a month, the fish were smaller that were jumping up the falls. These are bigger fish, noticeably bigger. They kind of peaked a couple days ago, but they were not a lot smaller, but about 20-30% smaller. So the smaller fish seem to go first. I know. I should do a Google search on that. I haven't done that, but I just thought it was interesting. And I love watching the bears eat. And again, brown bears, not grizzly bears. Brown bears are bigger, same family, obviously. but just a great shot. And you see, if you watch this camera enough, it's kind of like the Eagle cam we used to watch. You you get to know the bears. I feel like I know this guy, but they're eating up, man. They're getting ready for winter. These are puffins. These are Atlantic puffins. I do the puffins after we do weather only because we have them in California, right? They're awesome. We have them in Point Reyes and at the Farallon Islands, and further south, down towards 4 Mile. They nest. They do a lot of nesting on the Farallon Islands, just off of San Francisco. They breed one pair for, I don't know if it's for life, but they stay together for a long time, but they only have one egg, and they nest on the ground, so that it's imperative that they nest in places where predators can't go. And so this is what you're seeing. These are Atlantic puffins, because we don't have a good puffin camera at the Farallons, but it is awesome. I've seen a couple, but never quite this vibrant. I've been at the Farallon Islands a couple times, so I've seen them. And then here we go. These are jellyfish. And we covered it all today. Thanks for subscribing. Tell a friend. We do weather every day. We do other stuff at the end, like we just did the bears and the puffins and some Lake Tahoe stuff. We do skiing and surfing and all that, but at the end. But we also look into California history. I don't know. All things California is kind of my deal. West Coast is awesome. I do the national weather map as well. But if you could subscribe, tell a friend, like, or also be awesome if you did hang on this long. I would love a comment to say so. Just because, again, I question myself sometimes when I go to the back half, because the first half is for you guys, the back half's sort of for me, right? The first part is the vorticity model and the inversions and the drizzle and whatever, and then this is like, this is what I want to do because I'm drinking my coffee. Okay, thanks for joining me. I will see you back here tomorrow as I do an update every day. See you back here.